Hi, everyone. So, as I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, off camera, my name is Calder Johnson with the North Coast Repertory Theatre. I have a few preparatory remarks that I'll get through here real quick. First off, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out to the Humboldt press rally for Senate Bill 1116. Yes, thank you. I'd like to also take a moment to thank Senator Portantino for authoring the bill, and Senator Susan Rubio and Assemblymember Miguel Santiago for co-authoring. Yes. I would also like to thank our own local representatives, Senator McGuire and Assemblymember Wood, for supporting and voting for this bill and getting it through the legislature. So, just a general big thanks to the California legislature right now. So, in brief, what is SB 1116? The bill would establish the Equitable Payroll Fund, providing sizable payroll grants to small, nonprofit performing arts organizations across the state of California, throwing us a lifeline when we need it most. And it's important that I say that this is the Humboldt press rally because 645 miles south of here, our allied organizations are right now holding the main press rally for SB 1116, where Senator Portantino and other honored guests are speaking. We collaborated together to organize this satellite rally because SB 1116 impacts the entire state of California, north and south, metropolitan and rural, all of it. And why is the impact of SB 1116 so incredibly timely and important? This stage is currently set for our latest production here at NCRT, Midsummer Night's Dream. We were supposed to have performances this last weekend. We did not because of COVID. And this is not an exceptional or rare occurrence for all of us, for all our fellow organizations, whether here in Humboldt, in Pasadena, or anywhere else in the state. This is the current normal that we all are navigating. This alone would be daunting enough, but it has also been compounded through skyrocketing costs over the last 2 years, both due to inflation and regulation through California AB 5. Together, this is a 1-2 punch that threatens to put even the most resourceful of us out of action. And make no mistake, we all know how to adapt, to make much from not a lot, to innovate, to survive. But this deck we are currently playing with is fundamentally, catastrophically stacked against us to a degree that is truly without precedent. And it is because of this that I want to address our governor and say, personally, please, help us. The bill is on your desk. With your pen, you can buy us time, some room to breathe. You can restack the deck to give us a fighting chance. Please, help us. And now I want to pass it off to all of the other amazing speakers we have lined up from all across Humboldt County today. And I want to start with a very, very good friend of mine, longtime Humboldt County resident, amazing actress, Tony-nominated, 1992, Outer Critics Circle Award winner, also 1992, just all-around awesome, wonderful human being. Lucky and gratified to know her, Cynthia Martells.
Thank you, Calder. I am here to represent a lot of the actors. I've worked professionally around the country in California and LA. I have been in this community for more than 10 years. I have to tell you, for the past 3 years, it has been working like having your hands tied behind your back because of COVID. Coming to see performances, having performances canceled, having your fellow actors become sick, not having the resources to maintain what we do. Theater is my life. It sustains me. And one of the reasons I do it is because it gives to the community. It teaches children. It has people express themselves. This is not necessarily a professional like LA or Broadway, but it is essential for our community. It has people express themselves. It's saved my life, and I'm sure it saved others. I'm here to ask for the money of SB 1116, because we need it. Our theaters are empty because People are afraid to come to the theater. We don't have the resources to help sustain without that money coming in from our audience members to sustain the theaters, to even buy makeup or costumes or all the things that we need to sustain a theater. It has almost put us to a standstill. And it trickles down because it also affects the children in our community, in schools. We reach out to different schools to come and participate. It is a stepping ground for those that like to express themselves, and then there's not this format for them to step into. We need that money to just help us keep our heads above water until hopefully this pandemic would change or we can adapt more to it. I really ask, as a person that has been in theater for many, many years, because I'm talking from an actor that knows. I think that's why I was invited here today. So I can speak from that professionalism and say that it is leaking for us. We need that help. We need that sustaining. What has happened to the theaters in the past almost 3 years now is that everything is almost drained out because people are afraid to come to the theater, actors are afraid to perform. When we have a production going up, half the cast becomes ill because nobody can stand at the door and stop COVID. We need your substance. We need your help. We are not just putting on theater is like whistling in the wind sometimes, because we are standing in the midst of the storm, still doing what we do. What it gives to the community is, God, there's no words, there's no price tag you can put onto it. We have to express, we have to sustain, we have to create. And that touches everybody in the community. It sustains everybody in the community, even those that aren't in the arts. I really request sincerely that you listen to the words that they're saying are going to be said today, to know that people are here from their heart. I'm here on my birthday, got up this morning. Didn't get any sleep because I know people in Europe and they're calling me from yesterday, happy birthday. It's all good. However, I'm here because I so passionately believe in what I do and passionately want to request that this bill is passed. My heart is just beating, not because I'm nervous, but I know what this bill will do for us if it goes through. And I'm trying to find the words that will help the governor go and sign. All I can ask is please recognize what we do, especially in these small communities. Because this is what we have. This is what we do. This is what we give. And we cannot give it if we don't get help. Thank you very much.
I am a recipient of what Cynthia just talked about. I'm an outlier. I am not an artist or a performer. I've been a teacher, I've been a business owner, and I was elected to various public offices. But I'm here because I'm an audience member. When I go to Manhattan, Vegas, or Vienna, first I seek out the events calendar. And every day when I'm here in Humboldt County, I check my own calendar to see what is coming up today and tonight. Last month, it was 9 live musical performances, 2 art exhibits, and a fabulous theater production. During the pandemic, I bought a television. I think you still call them that. I don't know. I haven't had one for years, but I have this TV now, so I knew I'd be staying home for a while. But it was not a substitute for the real thing. So nothing replaces the experience of a live performance. You all know that. Transformations happen in a living art space. I said I'm not an artist, but I've been influenced by art my entire life. At 6, I started violin lessons. At 12, I studied dance 6 days a week. In college, I was in several theater productions. More recently, I took classes from artists right here in Humboldt County. I still don't think I'm an artist, a dancer, or an actor. But all of this experience is infused into my thinking, my problem-solving skills, my well-being. I can trace my success and health to movement, to rhythm, to creative expression, vision, attention to details, completion, and teamwork. Art, music, and theater supports our entire existence. I could argue it helps to prevent global warming and wars. It adds, it does not take away anything. So even those of us who are not called artists are influenced every moment, day and night. I notice building designs. This one, particularly here, stands out as it represents architecture that shows the care, and it stands out on a street of pretty much nondescript structures. This building makes a difference. The person who designed the seats to fit our bodies makes a difference. If you look at the ends of these rows, they are not just chairs. The people who cut our hair, made the jewelry, and designed what we wear, we cannot take any of those details for granted. And that's a short list. The productions that happen in this space and radiate out into our communities are boundless and borderless. From garages and attics to classic theaters and cabarets, our plazas and streets. I'm not an artist. I recently made a list of, let's see, I'm going to actually pull it out just as a little example. Actually, I'll show you my manila folder, which could be boring, but an artist went to it, so it's not. This is a list of people in our community, and you obviously can't read it, but it's a short list, actually. These are all people who make a living when times are better. We've just heard about how challenging it's been during the pandemic, but these are people whose work is in the art world. These are actors, directors, costumers, writers, composers, musicians, singers, filmmakers, painters, muralists, jewelers, ceramicists, sculptors, conductors, dancers, architects, novelists, designers, comedians, clowns, all of whom call themselves artists and who work as artists. If I included everyone in our community, the list would be, the papers would stack this high. Everyone who thinks that they, and do art, play an instrument. I play an instrument, but I'm not on this list because that's not how I make my living. It's remarkable how much of an impact, an economic impact, not to mention the spiritual impact that the arts has on our community and every community, frankly, worldwide, but we're talking about California right now. So, and I could go on and on about the economic impacts of the secondary effects, the secondary jobs that are created in restaurants and hotels and bars and parking lots and clothing stores, and on it goes, because we don't just go to one thing when we show up in a community or when we drive down the street. We end up doing a few things while we're there. So we all benefit from this collective resource of talent. Our lives are better. And it's our responsibility to support the working lives of those people who contribute from their hearts and souls and from some space that to me is still mysterious. As much as I've attended events, seen incredible art, heard outrageous music, I always have to stop and think, this person started, I get pretty emotional about it. The painter starts with a blank slate, nothing on it. A playwright starts with a piece of paper or something like that that looks like this with nothing on it. The costumer, the set designer, I mean, even this remarkable floor, everything starts from zero. And these are the people who create the things that change our lives every moment as we walk through the streets, walk through businesses, go to dinner, watch TV sometimes, or go to live productions. So I'm hoping that, I'm not hoping, this will pass. It must pass. And so we need to keep thinking positively about it, everyone needs to make a call, send an email, send a text to the governor, and wish him well with this because it will change lives in California. As you can probably tell, I could talk forever about this because these are the sort of metaphorical and inspirational experiences and moments that artists bring us that are really pretty much not measurable, but we have to take a moment every now and then and realize how they do impact our lives. So money is part of it, and it's very important, but it's not really what this is about. We still need the money, we still need the support for the arts, but it's really because of the collective wisdom and creativity that comes from our communities that makes the difference. So thanks.
Buenos días and good morning, Tanikun Hawalu. My name is Brenda Perez, and I have the honor to be here among artists on representation of the Latinx communities. Today we are joining the statewide movement to advocate for SB 1116, to have equity and dignity in the form of a payroll fund for artists. We want Governor Newsom to hear our voice. It is my honor to be here on behalf of these artists that includes talented people who cross the south border and keep dancing at restaurants' kitchens, and those that keep singing traditional songs in their indigenous languages while cleaning the hotel rooms. I'm here as well as a voice of the essential workers, as a brown person eager to find spaces for the enjoyment of arts. As survivors of a worldwide pandemic, I like to take the chance to acknowledge the importance of arts for the well-being of our rural communities, especially in times of inflation, economic crisis, and racist attacks. We need you artists to help us navigate extreme vulnerable conditions. For example, since 2020, dance and theater workshops has provided space for immigrant women to talk about domestic violence during quarantine. These workshops have helped us to explore painful experiences of being migrants in the US in a deep, reflective, and constructive way, always in community, recognizing each other's strength, 1-to-1, 1-1, 1-6. I'm here with the conviction that the small organizations are principal actors in the best allies for the recuperation of California. However, COVID-19 keeps threatening our permanence. We need the pass of this bill, the SB 1116, to be part of a sustainable social transformation that puts in the center the most sublime human practices. Artists are essential workers to survive this period of post-pandemic. Artists creates possibilities for us, all of us, to keep peace in this period of time. If we dig deeper, artists and cultural bearers are dreamers, but also peace builders. They are holding the space for a new episode with tools for conflict resolution. That's why we are here, from north to south of California. We urge the Governor Newsom to take a lesson from the first period of COVID-19. We don't want to lose more lives in the front lines. We don't want to lose more artists from COVID-19. As organizations of Rapid Response Network, we will procure the well-being of our communities with access to arts and culture, but we need your support. May the spirit of this movement of artists around California convince the governor to invest in arts, to reduce the economic gap, and to acknowledge the dignity of our beloved artists and cultural bearers in their essential work. We need you, fellow artists. We need you to keep dreaming in a new way. And it's hard to say, but to live in peace. And it's hard to say that for us and for the next generations. Sure, art is essential. And we don't want to lose you. We don't want to lose your way to teach us how to use our voice, how to express our emotions, how to be standing in front of people, how to even transform tears to joy if we need to fight for arts. We need you, Governor Newsom, to sing that bill that is holding in your desk. So many people is waiting for that. So many people here present in this rural Humboldt County is holding the news, is holding the space for you to invest, to be a good ancestor, to be a good political leader, to be the person that sets the precedent in the entire nation. It's California enough rich and diverse. It's up to you to set a precedent, to give us that chance, that hope, to thrive. It is for me a great honor to be seen in this theater to these people that is providing the immigrant community for support. And for them and for all of us, I'm asking you to keep the fight, and I'm asking you, Governor, to be our best ally. Thank you very much. And happy birthday, Cynthia.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Dandeneau, and I am the Executive Artistic Director of Playhouse Arts. We are the local arts agency for the city of Arcata, and recently been designated as a state and regional network for Humboldt County, Del Norte County, and the Tri-Counties region. It's an honor to be in this position, to follow our mission of building community through the arts. It's an honor to work with people whose voices are not always heard in our standard media. And it's an honor to stand here today amongst the work that Calder Johnson has done in bringing this bill forward so that we can see what the arts mean in our community. We are a rural community. We have small rural organizations and small rural, sometimes payrolls, but those payrolls are essential to making who we are as a community. The arts are an essential part of a healthy community, as we all know. This bill offers, like everyone's saying, a lifeline for us to be able to place artists in schools, so kids can come to our teaching artists and say, when are you coming back? This is the best that I've had since the pandemic happened. With kids who have been in school, their school careers started on Zoom. And we come to them now to say, hey, let's connect. Let's hear what our voices are. To those kids, our artists are essential in rural California and throughout California. I'm going to speak only about rural California. Our voices are essential in terms of some of the outdoor work that we do with the Playhouse, with a show called Migrations, that brings people together to experience different cultures in our region. Those artists of all these different groups that are within our county. That's what this SB 1116 would help support. It would help support artists in schools. It would help support outdoor arts. It would help us support bringing local artists into our theater so they can rent a theater space and put on their show or their band or whatever they want to do within a theater space, that we can bring people from the outside to our county so that people who maybe don't have enough funds and not enough time to travel out from the region to see things happening elsewhere in the county. This is what the arts provide in our county. They provide an opportunity for people to see the different, to hear the other, to connect with people. There is nothing, like Julie said, and like Brenda and everybody said, there is nothing like sitting in a communal space together and feeling the breath, feeling the laughter, feeling the tears, feeling the joy of those people who are in that space with you. Be it outdoor, be it indoor, be it in your schools, be it in the lineup, be it in a mural that I watch a homeless woman sit in front of with her shopping cart, looking at and saying, I connect to this, to the murals that are in Eureka, to the things that are going in Arcata. I cannot stress enough how much this bill would help alleviate some of the pains that SB 5 has imposed on our arts organizations, which I love SB 5 because I believe artists should have a Social Security. They should have access to unemployment insurance. They should have access to all those things. But at the same time, coupled with the pandemic, it has crippled a lot of organizations, and this bill really is a lifeline for that, so that we can go forth and do what we do. There was a time before the pandemic that we said, let's have this protest that will be a day without art. And it was like this, global movement that we would have this day without art. Well, we had years without art, and we see what it does. There's polarization. There are people unable to see, to hear. There's racist attacks. There's unrest within our souls. And I think the arts really are the bridge that can build us back together, that we are the front line of this, and we do need that support. I would posit we need that support beyond the pandemic, that as good citizens, we support the arts throughout the life of the arts, and that we see that they are an essential economic driver, that they are essential for worker retention, how we get people to move to Humboldt County and stay, how we get kids in school with innovation, and they want to stay in Humboldt County and start their amazing businesses. So that it moves beyond just this bill and just this moment in time into opening a door to a garden that we can all see now, that we can look forward and say, yes, see what happens when we fund the arts. See what happens when we make an investment in our artists, in our organizations, in our children, in our schools. This is what happens. And I think it is a momentum that needs to roll through SB 1116 and keep rolling into the future so that we as artists can do what we do, and I won't have to sit at a desk writing grants and writing grant reports for the rest of my life. So it is an essential time. It is a moment in time where the door can open and we can burst through, or the door can stay shut and we can regress. I posit we are ready to open the door and burst forth. And I posit, Governor Newsom, you are ready to sign that bill and burst forth with us. And I will come and cheer you on and play with your children and teach them art. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cleo DeOrio, and I am the new artistic director of Ferndale Repertory Theatre. But I would also like to say that I am faculty at Del Arte and have also been an artist in schools for Playhouse Arts. I am one of the names on that large list that Julie presented. There are so many of us here that make a living through art and through theater. And just following Jackie, I wanted to say that we were in a conference once where someone said, arts are the icing on the cake of society. And we died inside. And Jackie very kindly and gracefully stood up and said, I disagree. Arts are the eggs. We hold the community together. And as Jackie was speaking about the polarization that has come from the years of lack of art, it was so evident to me that we are the eggs and that we can't do what we do without the support that SB 1116 can provide us right now. So to give you a little insight about Ferndale, we are located in an extremely rural place. Humboldt County is an extremely rural place in general, and Ferndale is surrounded by cow farms. This community of farmers in this time of SB 1116 has provided us letters of support. To see these farmers come together and say that theater is an active and important part of their lives makes it clear to us what we're doing and why we're here. And Humboldt County is a really special place. We have a lot of really amazing, trained, professional performers and teachers and designers and directors. And that is something that not a lot of rural communities have. And we rely on these people to teach, to produce performances, to allow the space for expression. But if these people cannot be paid, they have to go somewhere else or stop creating art. And I don't really think either of those is a good option. Neither of those would serve our community, for sure. Ferndale, in the time of COVID, shut down. We tried to produce radio plays. We tried to do Zoom productions. But as Julie said, none of that actually connects to us the way being in a space, in a community, in a theater does. We, in our last production alone, because of COVID, lost $9,000 worth of profit in one production. It was a wild time, but 50% of our cast got COVID during the first weekend of a 5-weekend performance. We canceled that weekend. We performed weekends 2, 3, and 4, and the other 50% of the cast got COVID in our last closing weekend. We canceled that weekend. Not only are we losing $9,000 worth of revenue, but we are also broken-spirited. I mean, I have cast members in the audience today who didn't get to perform what they had worked so hard to perform and what we're so passionate about because of COVID. And that's no one's fault, but it is a reality that we have to acknowledge. And theater, even not for the performers, but for the audience, is a community building event. We hold space for conversations that might not be had otherwise. We've all been in spaces that have made us feel, performances that have made us feel joy or sorrow, that have made us walk out of that theater and talk to somebody who we might not have spoken to have a conversation that we might be too afraid or even too prideful to have. Theater makes us as humans and as a society think. It asks questions. It challenges us. And we can't do that with shut doors and dark stages. So I, as all of the other artists here today, am asking you to sign SB 1116 and support us and help us to continue developing these communities and supporting our people and allowing space for conversation. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carol Ryder with the Humboldt Light Opera Company, and I echo all of the beautiful words that have been said here about why we need performances and why we need artists in our community. It is a spiritual thing, and it is an important thing for our culture. But I'm going to talk about the practicalities that we faced as theaters. In nonprofit musical theater, it's always a balancing act, no matter what the best of times brings. But like everyone here in the last 2.5 years, it has tipped the scales away from our mission statement to just sheer survival mode. Without our productions, our large choruses, our boomer troupe, our singing classes, our revenue stream has all but dried up. It's been severely tested, which has meant just paying the ever-increasing rent and ever-increasing utilities on our Sunnybrae Performing Arts Center for Education has become a financial pressure. And as this COVID-dictated time continues, it wreaks havoc on all the performing arts. At HLOC, we wonder, what will happen when we can safely sing together and actually perform? Will there be resources? Will there be artists? Will there be people that want to come? Given our particular niche in our community of large family musicals, we often see 65, 75 people on stage because we do large chorus pieces for that reason. And then another 15 plus in the full orchestra pit. But heading into a full production is going to be challenging. Just in terms of materials, the rising cost of lumber alone is going to be staggering. The cost of paint, fabric for 100+ costumes, the royalties, and for us, since we use the Van Duzer, the cost of rent, which is a topic for another day. But it has jumped 300% since the last time we were able to use it, which is astronomical, and it's a state institution. You combine all these things and then more with the embarrassingly meager stipends we're able to offer our production staff. And it would mean that we would need to do a significant, and for us, unforgivable raise in ticket prices, which would mean that our audiences would shrink because we really do shows for families so that young people can get the joy of learning to enjoy live theater. SB 1116 would let us use our dwindling funds towards the necessary tech elements by augmenting the budget and providing a substantial aid to pay a fair wage to the directors and designers and musicians and technicians and that are needed to mount the quality productions. In addition, HOC is very concerned that when we do finally get to go back into production, that we will have a hard time finding the necessary staff. As we all know, COVID years have forced theater artists to find other means to earn a living. One cannot afford to stay in the arts in today's world. To be able to offer artists a fair wage would not only ease that production budget, but ensure that more artists would gain experiences and, in turn, would help our community, our very rural community, stay alive. While the artist personnel is one aspect of staffing, without the arts administrators, the production would not even get to the stage, let alone have an audience. HLOC has evolved into much more than a production company through the years. And with our space, we're able to do a lot of different programmings with arts education for activities from 3-year-old to 90-year-old. And we are able to not only do this training for the artists to come, but also to give them a less stressful performing experience by recitals and concerts and small little productions in the space. Pre-pandemic, we were seeing more than 400 people in the space every week doing some type of arts activities, mostly singing. So that has really gone by the wayside in these last few years, but we're hoping someday to come back. It was very exciting and very busy. But with the exception of our teachers and our production staff when we have a large show, HLC has always been a volunteer staff. In our 49 years, we've never paid an artistic or executive director, but instead we've relied on this loyal group of volunteers that have gained incredible experience by doing all of the hundreds of things that need to happen in running a company, whether it be the finances or it be publicity or even cleaning the space. These people have been there. Unfortunately, this group is beginning to age out. They would love to pass on their knowledge to other people, but young people, younger than us, need to have a source of income. With SB 1116, we could begin to develop and to train the next generation of arts administrators by offering positions that might be able to run throughout the year so that they'd actually learn how to run a theater program or an arts education company. I'm personally afraid that without the assistance of the Equitable Payroll Fund, to help mitigate production costs and to support training of younger people by allowing them to have a payroll, HOC will be facing a very, very uncertain future. We are at a tipping point, and this fund would help balance things for that future. HOC urges the governor to sign this important bill to keep California in the forefront and ensuring that our lives, whether it be in LA or here in Humboldt County, continue to be enriched by the arts. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Alyssa Hewlett, and I come up here today as a representative of Del Arte International and the Del Arte International School of Physical Theater, located out in Blue Lake, and a 48-year member of this community in Humboldt County. I first wanted to start by saying that I came here from, seeking to find my own voice as an artist. I'd spent a few years before that as a professional actor, and I came out here to Del Arte as a student to learn how to shape a fiery impulse, creative impulse that was in me, into a perspective, into a way that I could say, this is what I want to do with my art, with my voice, and with other people. So I've been a part of this community since 2012. I've been acting, I've been doing community holiday plays with the Playhouse Arts, been performing with Del Arte. I was directing Clue the Musical at Ferndale Repertory right when the pandemic shut things down. And the first thing that I can say is that there was a lot of denial. How long, it was like, this maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe we'll have to cancel things in the summertime. And it became more and more present that this was going to be a full year, and then a full year turned into 18 to 24 months. And the gauntlet of uncertainty just opened up for everybody here. And, everybody that has stood up here has, I just want to echo the things that people have already spoken to. I can testify in that, in the little performances that we have had since we've been able to be back in live person, that to see somebody just come up to you and go, this is like the best thing that's happened to me in 2 years, or to see and just feel how important that is to our nervous systems, and to our, and to speak to this need that we need each other. To see that and to witness that. I can't explain to the governor enough that you hold the power in a pen stroke to either condemn a lot of us to having to do exactly as Jackie Dandeneau spoke of, regress, or even shut down. Or you hold the power in a pen stroke to allow for us to really build back something that, is to build back community, and to build back from a place of really understanding the importance and the gravity that art holds. So I wanted to speak to the fact that before the pandemic happened, there was already severe underfunding of the arts. That there was also in the US, a generational shift between a baby boomer generation that was going to land on our economy in a way that we all knew was going to have a hard impact. And at Del Arte, I've seen how that just even those factors of underfunding the arts and generational shifting has really made things complicated. I love AB5. I believe in equitable payroll. I believe in giving artists a living wage. But the timing of that coming up in 2019 and then impacting 2020 budgets allowed no time for us to transition, and then the pandemic compounded everything. So Del Arte has had a 48-year history of being a place where people come to generate new works, to generate. We have generations of artists, performing artists, mask makers, mask performers, puppet artists, puppetry, ensembles, physical theater ensembles, dance theater ensembles that have been incubated and generated out of Del Arte. And I want to sit here and let the governor know, stand here and say, like, we are relying on this funding. We've been a small nonprofit arts organization here for 48 years that has sent a lot of, that has incubated and created a pipeline for the field. And we want to continue to do that. So I just really want to be up here and just say, please sign that. And also, yes, you can sign it and you will. And, I don't think I need to, again, repeat how there are ancillary or that there are other sectors that really are benefiting by arts organizations up here. But I do want to point out that the numbers that are staggering to me to just think about, and that there is another $31.47 beyond the cost of admission per person every time someone goes to see a show. That spending includes transportation and travel, childcare, spending times at restaurants and bars. Nationally, the way that turns out is that audience spending is estimated to exceed $100 billion, supporting another 2.3 million jobs and generating $15.70 billion in total government revenue. So to me, like, that right there quantifies like the way that the arts supports the economy, if you even need that, rationale. So thank you. It is really an honor to be up here in this community with the speakers who've come up here, and I think the governor is going to sign this. So.
Hello, my name is Monica Topping. I'm with the Ink People Center for the Arts. I also am the coordinator for North Coast Open Studios, which is a Dreammaker project of the Ink People Center for the Arts. The Ink People was founded 43 years ago now. We are an art and culture nonprofit. The reach of the projects that are under the Ink People extend beyond Humboldt County, but I kind of like to tell people, when you look out the window anywhere around our area, you're probably seeing the work of at least a couple of our Dreammaker projects around here, whether it's murals, sculpture, performance, community, like cultural work. There's so much that is coming back to work that we are supporting, because it's so important to have the people who have these dreams doing the work to make those dreams happen. We believe that if you are making art, you are an artist. So Julie, that does include you. And we also believe very, very heavily that people should be getting paid to do the work that they're doing. You have these specialties, you have these passions, And you should be getting paid to do that. You can't pay rent or pay a mortgage or put gas in your car with appreciation. So, it is so important that people who are doing this work in our community are actually able to get paid to do that. It is not, a mystery or a surprise to anybody that when the pandemic started, we lost so much of our connection in this community, from events that were being planned, annual events, things that would have been happening just kind of got shut down. And on top of that, just to kind of add insult to injury, as time went on and there were rules and different ways that different parts of the community were supported in creating ways to come back, performing arts were left out of so much of that support. Even it's like we can do a performance and have distance from people and have distance from each other, but still be able to perform live. And it's like, no, we can't do that because nobody has actually given us the permission to do it. But we wanted it to happen so badly. And we're finally getting back to this place where we can, carefully start coming back, carefully start having productions. I mean, as many of our speakers today have mentioned, shows have been coming back, performances are happening, but then getting canceled at the last minute because everyone's getting sick. We've got theaters opening back up, which is so exciting, but only with a limited audience size. That is no way to keep a theater open. That's no way to keep our performing arts supported. And it is detrimental to our community, to our performing artists, which are our community, to have support in making this happen. So on behalf of the Ink people, I want to plea with our governor to please sign SB 1116 to provide the support. I will just kind of a little side note here. As I mentioned, I coordinate North Coast Open Studios, which is an annual art event where artists all over the county, typically more than 100 artists, open their studios up to the public. And for 2 years, we had to put that on hold. And it was so hard for these artists who rely on people coming to their artists, to their studios, seeing what they do, purchasing their art. This is one of the events every year that supports these artists. And, everything costs money. If you want to make art, it's going to cost money to make art. So without that money coming in, it's really hard to continue to make that art. And that was a huge problem for the community. We have so many creative people in our community that without the ability to bring in that income, they were not able to, create the art, to sell the art, to bring it in front of people. It's just all of this kind of keeps circling around. Without them having the income, they can't pay the bills. Without them having the income, they can't afford to buy tickets to these shows that we really hope are coming back, and then not getting canceled, hopefully because of COVID. So it's just, it is this big thing. And, I think I would like to also add that just because the shows were canceled, just because the events were canceled, does not mean that the work stopped. We didn't have the income, whether it was the Ink people or any of our performing arts organizations around here that just do such incredible work for our community. It's not like the work stopped. We just stopped having the income to support it. So, please, Governor Newsom, sign SB 1116. There's so many creative people around in our rural community that are really relying on you to help us actually get our feet back under us so we can continue to pump art out into the community and create a situation where people are able to come together and feel like a community once again. Thank you.
All right, hi everyone, I'm back. Thank you. No. Thank you all so much for being here. I really just want to give a huge thanks again to all of the speakers, all of you, all my friends, my coworkers, my compatriots who came out to share your stories, to speak eloquently on behalf of the arts. I appreciate all of you so much. I really want to thank the press who's here. Heather from Keat, thank you so much for recording today. Steph, Lost Coast Outpost. Pat, with the North Coast Journal, thank you so much. Please raise the signal. Right now, as we've said over and over here, the most important thing is by the end of this month, Governor Newsom has to sign this bill. That's what we're asking for. That's what we need. And then also, the bill needs to be funded too. It can't be signed and then forgotten about. We need to keep up the political pressure until it really becomes a reality, because we've seen how much it matters to all of us. I was just having a conversation with one of my staff members. We were just joking back and forth late at night here, and he said, imagine like someone came to us 2 years ago, some alien from the future, and said, you're going to be closed for 2 years, and then that's when it's going to get really hard. So, but I believe in us. I believe we can make it happen. So please, everyone here, spread the signal. I'll have a full recording of this speaker series ready to go by this afternoon. Share it out. Please write the governor. That's the big ask right now. Write the governor.